بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما. اللهم ارزقنا إخلاص في القول والعمل. We continue our discussion on the book of Major Sin by Sheikh Muhammad Abdul Wahhab rahimahullah, and we have reached the chapter called Bab Su'u Dhan bil Muslimin. We have reached the chapter called having evil thoughts about the Muslims. Having evil thoughts about the Muslims. Allah, the mighty and majestic, from His blessing upon us, and from the greatest of this religion is that Allah, He has completed this religion for us. And He has perfected the religion for us. That we don't need to be guessing about anything. The deen is clear. The deen is clear. As Allah Azza wa Jalla mentioned in Surah Al-Ma'idah, Al-Yawma akmaltu lakum dinakum wa atmamtu alaykum ni'mati wa raditu lakum Islam dina. Allah said in Surah Al-Ma'idah, today I have perfected your deen for you. And I have completed my favor upon you. And I'm happy as Islam as a religion for you. So Allah Azza wa Jal, He completed the religion for us. But we are the problem. We are the problem. Why are we the problem? Number one, a lot of us, we are not patient enough to learn. We're not patient enough to sit down and learn. And even when we learn, we put our desires over what we learn. And this is a problem. And sometimes some of us, we want a quick fix. We want an overnight result. But sometimes the deen is not like that. Everything is with Allah Azza wa Jal. We have to be patient. We have to be patient in learning. And learning, when the scholars, as I mentioned the last time, learning a book, the scholars, when they put a book together, the book is like a person is watching a movie, right? If you watch a scene and you don't watch other scenes, you're going to miss out on something. You're going to miss out on a particular thing that's covered. A book is like a total movie, a total concept that if you skip one class and you don't come in the next class, you don't know how the other one part leads to the other part. So the Prophet ﷺ mentioned in hadith, he said, "Taraktum ala mahajjati bayda layluha kanahariha." The Prophet, I've left you in a clear plain. I've left you with a clear plain. It's day is like it's night. Meaning that if it's night, it's dark and you know it's dark. And if it's clear, it's clear. Our religion is something that Allah Azza wa Jalla has blessed us with. That it's not a religion that we are guessing. You know, as Allah mentioned in that place of the Quran, مَا فَرَطْنَا فِي الْكِتَابِ مِنْ شَيْءٍ. And we have not left, Allah said, we have not left everything. We have not fallen short in regard to the book, that everything is laid out to us. If it's not in the Quran, it's in the Sunnah. If it's not in the Sunnah, the scholars have, there are principles that the scholars have based on the text of the Quran and the Sunnah. These scholars have come with principles that through it, we can determine what is correct and what is not correct. And not only that, even if it's not, we can find in the Quran, the Sunnah, or the principle that the scholars has laid down, through even dua, as the scholars mentioned, Allah Azza wa Jal, if you're looking for Allah will inspire you with the correct way, even if it's not clear like that. Allah, through your dua, as we know from istikhara, if people doing istikhara, we're not sure about things. Allah will show us. So the point is that our deen is a deen of clarity. And from that is this chapter that we're going to cover. The chapter of having evil thoughts about the Muslims. Allah Azza wa Jalla mentioned in Surah Al-Hujurat verse 12, Allah said, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu. Surah Al-Hujurat verse 12. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu ijtanibu kathira min adh-dhann inna ba'da adh-dhann ithm. Allah said, oh, you believe, abandon a lot of suspicions. Leave alone a lot of suspicions. You know, we're in a society where people they're quick, conspiracy theory and so on and so forth. That little thing happen, people read different meaning to it. Allah is just telling us, the believers, oh, you believe, abandon a lot of suspicion because some of suspicion, there's sin in them, there's sin connecting to them. Our Sheikh Salih Fawzan, he mentioned by explaining this chapter, he said, min al-kaba'ir su'i dhann bil muslimin. The Sheikh says that from the major sins is having evil thoughts about the believers. Having evil thoughts about the believers. He said, fal aslu fil muslim al khair wal adala. That the foundation of a Muslim is that you have that a Muslim is a good person and is a just person. This is the foundation. If you don't know any Muslim, you don't know the person, and you meet him, the first thing you should think about him is that it's a good man and it's a just person. Husnul dhan, yes. The opposite of su'ul dhan is husnul dhan. Su'ul dhan means evil thoughts. Husnul dhan means good thoughts. So if you meet a Muslim, you don't know him, the way you should also deal with him is that it's a good person, it's a righteous Muslim. He says, فَلَا تَسِيءَ سُوءُ الظَّنِّ بِأَخِيكَ الْمُسْلِمِ إِنْ لَمْ يَكُنْ عِنْدَكِ دَلِيلٌ عَلَى مَا ظَنَنْتُ فِيهِ. He says, so do not think evil of your Muslim brother if you do not have any evidence for what you think about him. If you don't have any evidence about a person, don't start having evil thoughts. You come to the masjid, you see people, don't automatically, think, because he got tattoo or he had all this and that. Nah, it's a Muslim. Have a good thoughts about him. Maybe he just took his shahada, right? Maybe he doesn't know better. And by the way you treat them, by the way you treat him or her, right? This will make their love of religion, a love of the religion. Because most people that are accepting, most people that come to Islam, from the things that attract people to Islam is the fact of the brotherhood, as people will say. From the brotherhood. So when you come to we come to the masjid, or you meet the brother outside the masjid, you show him love, as they say. Show him respect. Show him the brotherhood. This will bring, and this is the means of bring the brothers together. So the Sheikh says, do not think evil thoughts about your brother. He says, فالمجرد اهتمام لأخيك المسلم دون دليل على ذلك يعود كبيرة من كبائر الذنوب. He said, for you just thinking, having evil thoughts about your brother without you having the proof for that is from major sins. It's from major sins. He said, فالله أمرنا بِاجْتِنَابِهِ. See, Allah commands us to leave these evil thoughts behind. Because we have evil thoughts on another, we can't come together. We're gonna be just like the kuffar, right? Look at the society we live in nowadays, right? Everyone is uptight with another person. If you know a person you don't know, you're watching him, you're cautious about him, and you're acting, right? Little thing happen. That's why little thing happen. One person is killing another person right away. Little thing, because I don't know what you're gonna do. I don't know, because the evil thought is so prevalent in the society. So Allah Azza wa Jal is warning us from being like this, warning us from being like this way. So the Shaykh says that you having an evil thought about your brother without no proof is from the major sins. Then Allah commands us to abandon having evil thoughts. Allah said in Surah Al-Hujurat verse 12 that we mentioned, that all you believe, abandon many suspicions, because from the suspicion is from of the suspicion is sin in it. And the point that from suspicion is sin is that this is the way of a believer. A believer is that when you see something that is going to be, there's some doubt about it that's going to lead you to sin, you will leave, even majority of you leave it alone just to prevent yourself from sins. So Allah is telling us that, oh, you believe, abandon many suspicions, because some of the suspicions are the sin is connected to them. There's sin in them. So the Shaykh continues, says, لأن بعض الظن يكون إثما فأنت تجتنب كثير خوفا من الوقوع في القليل. He says that you leave many of those thoughts alone, so that for you not fall into few of them that may be sin. The Shaykh says, وهذا دليل على أن الخطر سوء الظن بالمسلمين. And that this shows that the danger of a person having evil thoughts about his brother. فإذا بلغك أن أخيك شيء أو حاك في نفسك شيء فعليك ألا تستعجل وتثبت في الأمر. He said, if anything come to you about your brother, you hear about your brother, something about him, oh, that brother is so low down and dirty, as they say, he used to do this and such, right? The Shaykh said, if something reach you regarding your brother, or something occurs in your heart towards the brother, you have this weird feeling about him. He said, فَعَلَيْكَ أَلَّا تَسْتَعْجِلْ. He said, do not hasten to do anything. Do not hasten to act upon what you heard or how you feel. He said, وَأَنْ تَتَبَّتْ فِي الْأَمْرِ. But rather you affirm, you confirm first. Have a confirmation. Look into the affairs before you act upon what you hear. He said, فَقَدْ يَكُونُ الَّذِي بَلَغَكَ فَاسِقًا كَذَّابًا. He said, perhaps the one who told you this information, it may be a sinful person anyways. Or a liar. Or a hater as well now, right? It may be a hater. The person may hate the person. Oh, that brother, he doesn't, he doesn't know how to do this to such and such. He has a problem with him. So upon us is not to rush to make a decision or to act upon what we hear from another person or what ourselves or which words that we hear. Right? It's not upon us to rush and act upon it, but upon us to verify and to confirm. He said, وَقَدْ يَكُونُ خَاطِرًا الَّذِي جَعَلَ فِي نَفْسِكَ مِنَ الشَّيْطَانِ. He said, perhaps the even thought that you hear from that enters you is from shaitan, it's from the devil. Right? It's from the devil. SubhanAllah. Many of us, because we're not, we're not learning the deen. And we're not purifying ourselves from, purifying ourselves and acting upon the manners of Islam. We still carry the jahiliyyah, our way before we enter Islam. And we come to the masjid and we puff in our chest. And we see a brother. Maybe you have known him in jahiliyyah, maybe you know him back in the day. But now you're in Islam, both of you in Islam now. Show him love. Maybe you had a problem show him love. You know, Islam, he washes off what comes before it. When the person took the Shahada, he said, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Everything that comes before that, Allah forgive all the sins before that. And a Muslim to another Muslim, they are believers. Innamal mu'minina ikhwa. The Muslim to another Muslim is they are believers to one another. So when you come to the masjid, don't puff your chest and act tough with your brother. You're not on the street. You're Muslim now. So, but rather, humble yourself. The way of the believer to another believer, the believers are humble to one another. So the Shaykh says that perhaps what comes to your heart is from Shaitan. It's a whispering of Shaitan. It says, Allah said, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, in ja'akum fasiqun binaba'in fatabayyanu an tusibu qawman bijahalatin fatusbihu ala ma fa'altum nadimin. Allah said in Surah Al-Hujurat verse 6 that, oh, you believe, if a sinful person come to you with the news, if a sinful person come to you news, fatabayyanu, Allah says, make sure. Make sure if somebody comes with you with news, before you act upon that news, make sure you verify that news first. Don't just act upon it. Then Allah said, fatabayyanu, make sure, and tusibu qawman bijahalatin, so that you do not, oppress people in ignorance, that you do not act upon on what you heard. Why? It may not be true. It may not be true. فَتُسْبِهُ عَلَى مَا فَعَلْتُمْ نَادِمِينَ, that you may come to regret what you did. You heard something. You acted upon it. Now you find out that no, it is not the case. Now you look like a fool. Right? You look like a fool because now maybe what you heard about the brother is not what it is. Now you tell, my bad, apologize. But if you had confirmed that, you have made sure that was the situation or not the situation, then you have spared yourself of this, asking to, having to ask for forgiveness and saying I'm sorry and stuff like that. Right? And then now you have given that brother a proof against you now. It's going to look like, this guy's, what's wrong with this brother? Right? Then it may even hold something in your heart for you now that you have oppressed him. So Allah said that, so you confirm, so that you do not oppress, and tusibu qawman bijahalatin, so that you do not afflict the people in ignorance. Fatusbihu ala ma fa'altum nadimin, so that you don't become regretful of what you do when you find out that what you heard is not what the situation is. The Shaykh says, وَلَيْتَ بَعْدَ الْإِخْوَانِ الْآنِ مِنَ طَلَبَةِ الْعِلْمِ يحذرون من سوء الظن بالمسلمين وقوف أعراض العلماء وطلب العلم. He said that we wish that some of the students, and this is some of our brothers, they're like that. And it may be due to lack of knowledge, and for the most lack of knowledge for the most part. Because knowledge, the goal of knowledge is for us to learn this knowledge and to implement that. To implement that. It's not for us just to have knowledge and just, oh yeah, I know how to respond to that. If they ask me, I know this. No, it's not just for information purpose. It's for us to implement. It's for us to implement. So that the way we are at the beginning of when we start practicing the deen, it's not the way we are 2, 3 years, 5. So that we are benefit to the society. So that our parents, our wives, our uncles, our brothers, they will see us in different light. Like, man, I remember when he was like this. Now he's like this. He's a person of respect and honor. And the religion, we are supposed to get respect with the deen of Allah Azza wa Jal. We are supposed to get respect. That's the result of the deen. That if we act upon it, Even the people know, the people, when they see Muslims, I mean, some people, they have, bad experience with the Muslims. But if you look at Muslim in general, when people see you as a Muslim, they're like, oh, he's a Muslim? Okay. The respect is there. But some of us, because we are not acting upon, whether due to ignorance or not acting upon what we know, we have given Islam a bad name. But if we act upon that, if we act upon the knowledge, we are supposed to be raised in front of the people. Allah has promised us that. Allah promised those who believe amongst you and do righteous action. Allah said, we shall give them the authority in the land. Allah will raise us if we act upon His book, subhanahu wa ta'ala. If we act upon it. But if we don't act upon it, then Allah may punish us. Allah may punish us. So the Shaykh says, some of the students, they talk about some other students, and they talk about scholars. فَتَرَى كَثِيرًا مِنْهُمْ يَتَهَمُّونَ ويصفونهم بأوصاف الحزبية والمذهبية دون تحقق. He says that some of the students, some of the people, subhanAllah, the times that we live in, we have some of our brothers, they oppress their other brothers. And we are learning this so that we don't fall into those things. We don't fall in without due rights. He says some of the students, they oppress other students. He says that حتى لو ثبت أن فلانا من الناس عنده بعض الأخطاء أو الملاحظات. He said even if a person, your brother, you find that he has mistakes. We all have mistakes. No one is free from mistakes. But even if you find that a brother has a mistake, فالعلاج ذلك, Sheikh says, أن يكون مناصحة والاستنصار والتوضيح. He said, if you find that your brother make mistake, what you're supposed to do is advise him. The cure is to advise him. Or it may not be that there's a mistake. It may be that you find out what is going on. Is everything okay? What's going on? Let me find out. Maybe it's not a mistake. Let me speak to him first. Let me find out what is going on. He says, أما الاعتماد على الأقوال والظنون فإن هذا مما حذر الله منه. He says, as for you, depending on what you hear, that brother says, and he says, and she says, or you go by what you think. I don't feel, I feel something for, something about that brother, I don't know. Right? I don't know. You go enough of that and you start acting upon that. He said, فَهَذَا مِمَّا حَذَّرَ اللَّهُ مِنْهُ. And from that is what Allah warned against this. Allah warned against this. Because if you do that to a brother, right, if other brothers do it to you, then you're not going to like it. And that's why we mentioned the hadith before. لا يؤمن أحدكم حتى يحب الأخي ما يحب لنفسه. Allah, the Prophet said in the hadith, is that none of you truly believe until he loves for your brother what he loves for himself. Love for himself. Because if you go enough of what you hear about the brother, or you go about your feel about the brother, another person will do that same thing to you too. Right? And what happens? You come to the masjid, everything is all uptight. You can't even relax in the masjid. Then what happened? People don't want to come to the masjid anymore. Right? Or even worse, sometimes you have a situation where some of these brothers, they're still in the street. Right? And, some of the brothers start bringing guns to the masjid. Right? And they're still thinking the way they think, they think they're still in the street. And it can lead to something worse. So Sheikh says that here from Allah Azza wa Jalla, warn against a person having evil thoughts or carrying, going by what other people say without verifying it. He said, وَهُوَ يُسَبَّبُ قَطِيعًا وَتَنَافَسًا بَيْنَ الْإِخْوَانِ. He said, this leads to qatiya, severing the ties between the brothers, and distancing the brothers from one another. وَهَذَا مِمَّا خَطَرُ وَعَظِيمٌ. And this is one they are afraid. This is the one that the danger is great, because Islam is din of brotherhood. Everything that we do, a lot of the things that we do it together, right? We come to the masjid and pray together. Ramadan comes around, we pray together. Jummah, we pray together, and so on and so forth. Masjid is the place where we come to learn, and so on and so forth. So we do it together to strengthen the tie of brotherhood, so that a person, as the scholars will say, this is a rajul qalil binafsihi wa kathir ma ikhwani, that a person is few by himself, but is many with his brothers, right? A person, just one person. But if it's like 7 of you, 10, yeah, then you can really, you have strength. There's strength in numbers, as you say. So, now.
This may sound like an ignorant question.
No, go ahead, Sean.
Let's say you feel a certain type of energy from a brother.
Mm-hmm.
And the energy is palpable to you. It's very real. But you're commanded to one for your brother as you do one for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess what I'm trying to say is, you also want to protect yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like, how do you navigate?
How do you deal with that?
How do you deal with that? How do you not become ignorant, knowing that you see what you see, you feel what you feel from this brother? The energy is what it is,
right?
But you're still commanded to pretty much look past that.
Well, you want to say something? Go ahead.
No, I wouldn't say look past it, but I would say I've learned over time that when you constantly give brother salams, have that cheerful face, it can't help but love you. You know what I'm saying?
No, barakallah fi jazakallah khair. Yeah, absolutely, it's right, right. You see a brother, he's mean mugging you, as they say, right? You come to the masjid, he's looking at you funny. Give him salam. Give him salam. Say salam alaikum, brother. Smile in his face. We've been commanded to do all this stuff. All these things that we're commanded to do. To give salam. To smile in your brother's face. You get rewarded for that. Right? And not only that, it brings people together. It's the thing. Right? Even if person, you see that person like that, it's not that you don't ignore it, but maybe he doesn't know you. Maybe shaitan is having a bad day, as I said, right? So you don't, it's not that you ignore it, but you give him a positive energy. You give him salam, right? And sometimes you give people gift.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
You know what I'm saying? Give him gift. Give him you feel like you go to a corner, give him something, something to eat or something like that. Or bring chicken, these are the things that we have been encouraged to do. Right? There's hadith of Prophet ﷺ that mentions that he said, give salam to who you know and who you don't know. Nowadays we have people who just give salam. Oh, I know you, I'll give you salam. If I don't know you, I'm not giving no salam. But that's not from the deen. And this is due to the ignorance of the people. This is the ignorance of not learning, of not knowing. Even if you know, sometimes you need to be reminded, because we forget. So these are the things that when you see a situation like that, it doesn't mean that you ignore it, but you you give what is better, you replace what is bad with what is good. And inshallah, Allah will rectify that affair. So the Shaykh continues, he says, أما إذا كان الدفاع هو الغيرة عن الدين فعليك تثبت خوفا أن تصيب أخاك بجهالة. He says, the Shaykh is talking about sometimes, some of us, we have the jealous for the religion sometimes. And we hear something, and because we are so, we want to feel like we are guarding the religion sometimes. So we can sometimes be hasty and jump, we go by what we hear. The Shaykh says that, do not do this. He said, if you hear about the person, maybe the person is violating something of a religion that you know, don't be quick to jump on the brother. Some of the brothers are like that.
Yeah.
All right?
Some brothers act like they just look forward to trying to
Yeah.
get some bad news.
Yeah.
It's like that's their whole existence. Just
Yeah,
Right. So,
I've seen that.
and it's nothing wrong that you've been having jealousy for the deen, for the religion. It's nothing wrong. Actually, it's a good thing to have the jealousy for the religion. But you're right. The right of your brother is also important, that you don't oppress your brother as well. You don't oppress him. So the Shaykh says,
But
no, go ahead.
when you say jealousy for the deed, explain a little.
The jealous for the deen is that, some of us, right? Because we, you come to the masjid sometimes, have some brothers, you're not straight, your line is not straight. They get up on you like, what are you doing here? Right?
Right.
Because they want everything to be done properly. Right? This is jealousy for deen, which is good.
Yeah.
But at the same
the
time,
way you do it, though.
it's the way you do it. All right? And the person you're doing it may be new to Islam. He may not know. He might know, he's still learning.
Right.
So, or maybe if, you may not be able to say Salaam alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh properly. The people look at you fun like, who are you? What's wrong with you? How you? You don't, right? They don't know how, so some of the brothers, because of their jealous for the religion and, because where they are, and they forget that they were
Exactly.
lower. There was once upon a time they were where the other person, is at, but they don't think about it that way. They think that, what? Why you don't get it? Why don't you do things right? But it's for them to be patient and find out why the brother doesn't understand. Maybe he's new to Islam. Maybe he's, he doesn't know. The Shaykh says, فَبَعْدَ الْإِخْوَانِ. Okay, so the Shaykh says that وَأَشَدُ ذَلِكَ من ذلك أن يقع في الأعراض ولاة الأمور. And also from that is the person talking about the Muslim ruler. And this is the things that we have been afflicted in this time with. The Muslim rulers, we have been commanded to respect them and not to talk bad about them. This is from the religion of Allah Azza wa Jal. That if they're doing something, we're not saying that all Muslims are perfect. No. But rather, the way that if a person want to advise the Muslim ruler is that you go. If you can advise them, you go to him, If you can write to them, you write to them. But as for a person, talking bad about the Muslim on social media, as a lot of people do nowadays, this is not from the way of the Muslim, but rather it's the way of the Al-Khawarij, the Khawarij. And the Khawarij are the people, as we're going to learn, that they declare other Muslims as disbelievers for the major sins, for the sins they commit. Right? So we don't, from the way of the people of Sunnah and Jama'ah is that we don't speak evil of the Muslim ruler, but rather we make dua that Allah rectify them. Because they are Muslim ruler, Allah has put them in the position. Allah is the one that put them in the position they're in. Allah Azza wa Jalla wants to put in a position. But we're going to learn more about it, inshallah, when we go to the books. We ask Allah to give us a long life upon His obedience, to learn some of these principles. We're still scratching the surface. We're not even getting anywhere yet. Wallahi, we have not getting anywhere. There are books that we, that mention the details of all this of it. That's why I mentioned that Islam is not a religion where I just go by how I feel, or I go by my, no. Every single thing in the religion is clear. It's laid down for us. Right? We are not. As Allah mentioned in the place, فَلَا وَرَبِّكَ لَا يُؤْمِنُونَ حَتَّى يُحَكِّمُكَ فِيمَا شَجَرَ بَيْنَهُمْ. Allah said in the Quran, by your Lord, O Muhammad, they don't truly believe until they make you the judge between what happens between them. So Allah said, they do not truly believe until they make you the judge, meaning that they judge by what you've been sent with. ثُمَّ لَا يَجِدُ فِي أَنفُسِهِمْ حَرَجًا. Until that, after that they make you the judge, they do not have any difficulty between themselves. Sometimes, something's trying to join between you and you didn't get what the person didn't judge in your favor and you feel some kind of way. Allah said, no, they do not truly believe until they make you the judge. And after that, after they make you the judge, then they still not believe until their soul then is content with what you judge, with what your decision is. While you sallimu taslima, and they submit completely. Imagine this is Islam. So Allah lays down everything for us. In as much to how much, everything. How we deal with our parents, how we deal with our wives, how we do with our brothers, how to go to the bathroom. Every single thing in the religion is laid out for us. So by the way we learn, the more we learn, we come to find out that this is the deen of truth. Bila shak. You will learn your soul. This is how the soul finds tranquility. Because Allah, the one that sent the book down, is the one that created the soul. And He knows what is going to give that soul the happiness. Right? So Allah wants us to be happy. So this book, but because of the environment we're in and the society we're in, the society has caused our heart to become, we have to be diseased and sick. So but now we come to Islam, we're trying to purify. We are purifying that soul. Right? But some of us, we don't want to learn. And when we learn, we don't act upon it. And we're still worrying about why I'm not happy. Huh? Why am I not happy? What's wrong with me? What's wrong? Because we're not going all the way to do what Allah has commanded us. As Allah mentioned in a place in the Quran, Allah said, Inna Allah la yughayyiru ma biqawmin hatta yughayyiru ma bi anfusihim. Allah said, Allah does not change the condition of the people until they change the condition of themselves. Allah. We don't want to move. And some of us, we are content with where we are. Oh, no, I gotta let everything be like this. But we gotta move. Nobody's saying we should move all at once. Right? Nobody said we should move all at once. But we should be moving. We should be progressing slowly towards the pleasing of Allah Azza wa Jalla. So, anyway, I think I'm going too far. So the Sheikh says, the Sheikh says that فَلَا الْمُسْلِمْ لَا سِيَّمَا طَالِبَ الْعِلْمِ أَلَّا يَتَنِّي لا سيما طالب العلم أن يتنى ويتحمل وإذا ثبت عنده شيء من المحظور فإنه يعالج بالنصيحة. He says if you find that a Muslim, that a person should not, when you hear something about your brother, right, or something you hear, do not be hasty to act upon it. But rather, if you find that that's what the situation is, even though you confirm that that's what is with the brother, then advise him. He said, La bi bil ghiba, not by you backbiting him. You know, you hear something about the brother and you confirm that's true, then don't say, oh yeah, that brother, I heard, I found out that brother was doing such and such. That brother is not a good brother. Stay away from, make sure you stay away from him. But rather you advise him. Wala isha. Well, don't be spreading his business and start telling everybody about his affairs. He said the Prophet said in a hadith, says, the Prophet said, ad-din nasiha. The Prophet said that the religion is an advice. Meaning that when you see from a Muslim doing something that's not right, you advise him. Then the Prophet says, then the companion says, who's the advice for? The Prophet said, the advice is for Allah. Meaning that you give advice based on the book of Allah. You give advice based on Quran, what you know from Quran. What you know from Quran. Wali Rasuli, and what you know from the Sunnah. What you know from the Sunnah of Prophet Sallam. Wala aimatul muslimin wa amatin. So you give advice to the Muslim ruler and the general Muslims. So you give advice based on the book of Allah and the Sunnah of Prophet Sallam to the Muslim ruler. We don't backbite the Muslim ruler. If you are able to advise him, you advise the Muslim ruler and the general Muslims too. You advise everybody. This is the beauty of our religion. Our religion is the religion for everybody. It's for all mankind. Sheikh says, moving on, he says, أن المنهج المسلم الأقوم إزاء ما يسمع المسلم من الأقوال في حق إخوانه. He said the methodology of a Muslim, the correct methodology of a Muslim, he's when he's faced with what he heard about his brothers, Muslim. You heard something about your brother. It's a number one, the Sheikh says, إذا سمع قولا في حقه في حق أخيه. If he hears something about something about your brother, فعليك أن لا يبادر ولا يستعجل ويسوء الظن به. He said the first thing you do is that you're not hasty to act upon it, or you're not hasty to have evil thoughts about him. وإنما عليه التماس عذر ما أمكن. That the first thing you should do that is try to give him excuse. Give him excuse. He said ثانيا إثبات الشيء من المحظور. إن ثبت الشيء من المحظور. Number two is that then if that thing is confirmed that he did that thing, he said فواجب أن لا يشيع الأمر. That when you hear that it's confirmed that it's the truth, then you are not equal to spread that news about him. You don't spread about him. بل تناسه فيما بيننا. But rather, the Sheikh said, but we advise one another between what is between us. You don't go and start spreading this news, but you go to him, the brother himself. Brother, you're not supposed to be doing that. This is what's correct, so on and so forth. Instead of you going and spreading with the people. He says, فَإِنَّ دِينِ النَّصِيحَةِ, because the deen is a sincere advice. طيب. The Sheikh says, the Sheikh mentioned a hadith where he says that the Prophet said in a hadith, إِيَّاكُ وَالظَّنِّ. The Prophet said that beware of dhan, beware of thoughts, what you think. فَإِنَّ ظَنَّ أَكْتَبُ الْحَدِيثِ. Because the Sheikh says that the Prophet said that because thought is the worst of lies. Many of us, we think about, thoughts come to our mind all the time. All kind of thoughts. The Prophet said, beware of what you think. I think about this, right? He said, because what you think is the worst type of lies sometimes. Because why? Why do you think he said that?
Half the time, not even true.
If half the time it's not even true. Most of the time, it's not true. It's the worst of lies. So he said, beware of it. Until you confirm that what you're thinking is the truth, then don't be hasty to act upon it. And all of us, most of us, we are falling to this too. But this is a reminder for us to be more careful in this. So he says, right. So basically, this is what the Sheikh basically mentioned regarding that. We ask Allah to bless us with what He teaches us, and bless us to be able to act upon it. هذا والله أعلم صلى الله عليه وسلم على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. If any question, inshallah, we'll take inshallah. Question?
Yeah.
Damn.
So, I'm sort of going to give like a scenario. Say, because you have a Muslim, and let's say a Muslim wrongs you, right? And years down the line, they come and they apologize to you, but you don't want to like what they did. Like you don't want to be around.
Be around them?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you forgive them, but it's not. You forgive them for what they did, but you don't You're not you don't.
You forgive, but you didn't. You forgive, but you didn't forget, right?
Yeah. Basically.
Okay.
So
how do you deal with that?
yeah.
Well, you can forgive a person, right? And as far as you choosing whether to be close to that person, it's up to you. If you still don't feel comfortable, then you have the right. But the right that the brother has upon you, still have to fulfill that. You give him salam, you smile in his face, and so on and so forth. But as far as being close to him, you don't have to be close to him. You don't have to. But if you trying to rectify the situation, it's better. If you do it for the sake of it, you get rewarded for it. But if you don't feel comfortable, then you have a proof against him already. Now that is when you have a proof against the person, right? Meaning that because he had done something to you before, right? Then this is a proof that you're concerned that he may do it again. So that is a proof for you to keep your distance, but at the same time, he still has a right as a Muslim over you. Meaning, give him salam, be nice to him. How you doing? Give him, But as far as maybe bringing him to your house and hanging out with him, you don't have to do that. You know what I'm saying? But if you do that, then I mean.
I know a lot of times if a person do something to you and say they apologize or whatever, you give them enough time, they gonna show if they really. If they really didn't mean to do that, or if they still that same person, it's gonna show.
No.
I think it's better to give people the benefit of the doubt though, because it takes a lot of to apologize to somebody's face. It takes a lot of courage for that person to do it. In my opinion,
it depends on what it is.
Yeah,
It depends what it is, right? It depends. If it's something minor, then no problem. You overlook it, but it's something else, subhanAllah. We live in a time where
a lot of deception, man.
there's a lot of deception we live in. There's a lot of deception nowadays. And because people are not learning the faith, they're not learning the religion, they think they only practice the outward aspect of the religion, but the religion is more than just the outward appearance. Rather, the affair of the heart is even given precedence over the outward appearance. The faith, having taqwa, having fear of Allah, having sincerity, all of these things that the religion give importance to, more than something like salah, right? It doesn't mean that salah is not important. It's important, but the heart is where everything comes from. As the Prophet mentioned in a hadith, inna fil jasad mudgha, indeed there's a muscle of flesh in the body. Is that salahat, salat jasad kullu. If it's rectified, If the muscle of flesh in the body is rectified, the rest of the body will rectify. And the pastor mentioned is the heart. Because the heart is the place where we did everything that we do. It comes from. Right? Oh yeah, I want to go do that thing. Where do you decide that? It's in your heart. I'm going to do such and such. We know about the guy that killed the other guy the other day. Right?
Yeah.
He shot him. SubhanAllah, that was, man, Allah understand. You guys, brother, saw this video?
Yeah, I saw it.
It was horrible, SubhanAllah. But this person, he didn't just, he planned it. And he killed him. So the heart is sick. A lot of people's heart, we have to be la. The hearts of the devils, SubhanAllah. So, but the society that we're in, the times will do it to a person. When a person does not purify their soul, when the soul is not purified, it can be like that. We have to be loud. But learning the deen is what prevents a person by the permission of Allah. So just the aim is not to be like this. Because even though you may not want to be like those crazy people, but because of the fear of what can happen, you start, you know what? And it doesn't mean that you don't take your precautions, you do. But there's a difference between taking a precaution and being evil. You know what I'm saying? So we live in a society where things are getting worse. Things are getting worse. And, everyone is scared of everybody.
Yeah, that question went hand in hand with what I was trying to ask earlier. I don't know if it was clear, but that was basically like an exact way of asking that question.
No.
You don't know what's in somebody's heart, and you don't know if their apology or their if they're sincere.
But just based on what he just said, though, as far as like the heart being pure and the limbs and the action, so whatever's in that person's heart towards you, they're gonna show you.
It's gonna show.
It's gonna show.
Because it's in the heart. And it's gonna come out on the tongue, on the limbs, all that.
And you, as far as you put your trust
In Allah.
in Allah.
Right.
Huh?
You don't be concerned about whether this person is genuine or not.
Yeah.
You just
You do it for the sake of Allah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You do. You get you doing it because you're seeking the reward of Allah. Right? You being good to that person, you give that person salah because Allah commands that. And when you do that, you get rewarded for it. And also from the word from the things that you get, that you feel relaxed, right? Because if you start holding that, you get, you
become miserable.
you got miserable yourself.
yeah.
But you give him, salam or whatever
And you feel lighthearted.
And wallahi, also in this society, Allah has used us as a blessing for this kind of society because people don't usually get love like that.
Nah.
People don't get love. I work in a place, people, you talk to people, you make the place relax, people are happy. Because people want to be happy.
Yeah.
But majority of people, well, everybody like that. And it's like,
That's the norm.
but when they actually see you that you're not like that, they're so happy to have you around. I remember a woman, subhanAllah, doing security,
Yeah.
and they switched me, both of us is two older lady. And she was, when she saw me, she was so worried. She was so worried.
Why, because you were Muslim?
Not because, because every time they switch you, you never know what the kind of people you're working with.
Okay.
And people like that, and I see myself too, you work with some people, they're just angry all day long. Mean all day long, They don't talk to you. They just, But when people actually start, oh, this person actually is different. Right? Like something like that. When they see that you are, you're friendly, you're like a blessing to them. Like, oh, this person not the same. At least something like, you're a blessing to them. Like, oh, it's not like that person I know. That person I work with, I don't want to work with him. Even yesterday I was working, People want to quit the job because when the job becomes stressful, people around you, you don't want to be in a kind of like a job. You know what I'm saying? So Allah has blessed us as Muslims to be blessed into this society. We have to learn and we have to show it. And even this is a way from our faith even increasing because you're seeing this. Wallah, wallah, I see it. I see it. You talk, subhanAllah, I was working with this guy the other night. We're talking about just work 12-hour shift. We just the entire night we're talking about the deen, Islam. We're just talking about the deen. And I told him, like, look, I've given you everything you need to know. If you don't, I said, I've told you everything you need to know. So if you don't accept the faith, Allah is gonna punish you. God is gonna punish you. He said, I want to follow the truth. What do I have to do? But even after I went home, I just feel so good. Like, man, you're talking to this guy, and he's, people see what's going on in society. People want change,
Right.
and the change is in the deen of Allah, brothers. The change is there. For those of us who have been practicing for a long time, the more you learn, the more you find out that this is the truth, and there's nothing beside. This is the only truth, right? But people are looking for something like this. It is for us to step up and propagate the religion. It's not for us to just learn it and just, I'm good and that's your problem. No, it's for us. The little that we know, we share with the people. Because people are miserable. A lot of people are miserable. For us that work in the, some of you, someone like you guys, you work in, you're going home, right? Right? But when you deal with the people is when you see, like, people are looking for guidance. SubhanAllah. So, anyway, I think we start inshallah. هذا الله عليه وصلى الله وسلم على النبي محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين.